Thank you very much for listening to this week's talk on the festival of Shavuot, which we are going to be celebrating this coming Thursday night. And it is, besides being called Shavuot, there are a number of names that apply that we can refer to this festival as. And the one that I want to focus on is Matan Torasenu, the time of the giving of our Torah. And I think we have in that name, Matan Torah, the gift of our Torah, we have two huge clues in terms of matan, which means a gift. And this is something that we need to think of as generating huge excitement, something that as a child on a birthday, looking forward to a very special present and the excitement that's generated. And this is really conveyed in this word matan, gift, and Torasenu, our Torah. And this is one of the many aspects of the beauty that we celebrate, that each and every one of us make it our Torah. And I think that when we are in that mindset, when we realize that this is a gift that goes on giving, and this is a gift that is not a one-time gift, and this is not something that gets stale, this is something that is continually, perpetually relevant. And we are absolutely privileged and excited and delighted to be having it. And I think that this, if we are able to approach the festival of Matan Torah in this way, then we are enriched beyond measure. And I think that it's all very well for me to sit here rather, and get all excited about it, but really, how are we going to achieve these levels of excitement? How are we going to really, genuinely and deeply look at this festival, look at the meaning, the symbol, the deep essence of this festival? How are we going to really experience it? How are we going to be as excited as a young child opening up this beautifully wrapped gift on their birthday? And I think that there are two sources that we can use to help us think about Matan Torah, to think about this festival in a way that is going to engender these feelings. The first source comes from the Torah, and we'll read through the exact chapters and verses in the book of Shemot, in the book of Exodus, that describe the historic event that took place in the year 2448. And the second source is going to be the Siddur, that we're going to look at two sources in the Siddur that we say on a daily basis. And again, if we are able to really focus, internalize, when we say these words in the Siddur, have the kavanah, which is often translated as focus or sort of deep connection when we're davening. But the word kivun actually means direction. And this concept of kavanah can be that we are on a path that's going in the right direction, that we are working hard, because although the truth is that the Torah is this incredible gift, that we will get wisdom that applies at every point of time and to every single human being in an individually specified way, but we need to work on ourselves to actually feel that and make ourselves aware of it. So the first source that I want to look at is the verses in the book of Shemot. And if we start with the opening of the chapter 19, which talks about the children of Israel, and this recreates the time that we are currently tonight. As I'm talking, it's the 2nd of Sivan. Today, Sunday, was Rosh Chodesh Sivan. So when we read chapter 19, verse 1, this is in the Sedra of Yisro, B'chodesh hashlishi, in the third month, which is how the months are referred to in the Torah in numerical order. This refers to the month of Sivan. Letzeis B'nai Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim, of the exodus, of the going out of the children of Israel from the land of Egypt, Bayom Hazeh, on this day, Ba'u Midbar Sinai. They came to the wilderness of Sinai. Vayisu Merafidim, they journeyed from Rephidim. Vayavo Midbar Sinai, Vayachanu Bamidbar, and they journeyed from Rephidim, and they came to the wilderness of Sinai, and they encamped in the wilderness. Vayichan Shom Yisrael Neged Hahar, and Israel encamped there opposite the mountain. So what we have in these verses is the seemingly less than exciting travel details of the date, that it was in the third month of when the children of Israel came out, and it says Bayom Hazeh, on this day. So the rabbis learn from there, because this expression is used in connection with Rosh Chodesh. So the rabbis learn from there that this was Rosh Chodesh Sivan, actually the day that just passed today, and they came to the wilderness of Sinai. And then we have this seemingly incidental detail, and they journeyed from Rephidim and they came to the wilderness of Sinai. And what is the significance of that? The more unexceptional words seem to be in the Torah, the more we realize, the more that we have to dig deep to find out what exactly was the deep reason, because there is a deep reason for these words. Now, actually, the journey time from Rephidim to the wilderness of Sinai was not a long journey, but we have a certain interpretation that when they arrived at the wilderness of Sinai, they were very tired. And so on that day, actually, there were no instructions given to them. There was just silence. Moshe Rabbeinu did not tell them what they need to do to prepare for the awesome events that were going to be happening in a few days' time. There was just time out. And that is one level of explanation, but it doesn't really fit with the fact that it was not an arduous journey that the Torah is specifically highlighting from Rephidim, which is a place that you can locate on the map, to the wilderness of Sinai. And we're going to come to that shortly to explain what exactly happened in this supposed downtime. Why was it so necessary as part of the process of receiving the Torah? And then we have the famous phrase that Vayichan Shom Yisrael Neged Hahar, that Israel encamped there opposite the mountain, and Rashi comments on this, Ke'ish echad belev echad, as one man with one heart. And this is based on the Medrash and the Mechilta, and pointing out, because the singular form is used, and just a few words earlier, we actually have the plural form, which is more commonly used in these situations, because the words just before Vayechan Sham are Vayachanu Bamidbar, and they, plural, encamped in the Midbar. So it is then very startling that immediately afterwards we suddenly changed to the singular, and that caused the interpretation that there was exceptional unity at this point in the journey of the children of Israel en route to receiving the Torah. And I think that we have so many tips for ourselves. How are we going to keep this so fresh and so relevant and so meaningful? There is nothing that we need to know that we cannot find in the Torah. Every bit of wisdom, for ourselves, for those around us, as we transmit values, as we are part of an unbroken chain from our ancestors who received the Torah at Sinai, stretching beyond ourselves after we no longer are part of this world, we pass on, but we are always, when we are part of this incredible chain linking us from Sinai to the real truth of the Torah, we have an eternal contribution, we have an eternal stake in real life. And this idea that on that first day, where it seems to be that they're just recuperating from a journey, this is a special quiet time, because the children of Israel are processing that they are going to enter into a special relationship. They are in a very special situation, that they have the Torah, which has been observed by individuals before this point. We have the tradition that our fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they were in tune with the Torah. They kept the Torah. They observed the mitzvahs. And according to some opinions, they observed the written law, they observed the oral law, they observed the rabbinic traditions as well. And so what was the huge difference between the Torah as it was observed by our fathers and the Torah that was going to be accepted and observed by the entire nation? And the idea is that the certain unique individuals have got extremely refined spiritual antennae, and perhaps they've got brilliant minds as well. So they are able, we know that Abraham has a journey when he discovers Hashem. He looks through everything that's around, he looks at everything that's around him, and he realizes that there must be a creator, and that creator created originally and is involved in an ongoing way in our lives. And Abraham is able to work this out for himself, and then go around to the prevailing culture and show people his discovery and get them on board, and swim against the tide of idol worshippers that are around him. Unique individuals that were able to observe, know all of these details, and observe the Torah before it was given. What happens now? What happens in these verses in chapter 19 in the book of Exodus? What is happening real time this week to us, if we are able to fine tune our hearing to receive these incredible waves that you need to drown out the other noise in order to be able to hear them. You need to have that silence of the first day that's described in these verses. So we are about to get the Torah as an entire nation. And not only that, each and every one of us has our portion. Matan Torosenu, it's the gift of our Torah. And that means, and this is something that previously perhaps it was the province of the scholars, the people who had the opportunity to learn, the people who were very gifted academically, they had special access. But really, the earliest tradition from Sinai is that every single member of Bnei Israel who accepts the Torah as part of the nation, each and every one of us has our special niche within it. And we have the raw materials, and it's up to us to refine them and use them in connecting with the Torah that was given to us and making it ours in this way. And so with these words, we see, firstly, that there is a day of silence to process that we have this special connection. We are personally invited by Hashem to be a partner in his Torah, each and every one of us. And the second tip that we get from here is the fact that since we accept it as a national entity, this unity that is so beautifully pointed out by the Medrash and by Rashi, and we see, because of the abrupt switch from plural to singular, this unity was achieved at Har Sinai then. and we are able to achieve it again. And again, you might look at me and say, yes, but really, look what's happening in the news, read the news. Well, that's mistake number one. Don't read the news, because there's no news is good news. So by definition, everything that you're reading is bad news. And so often the picture that's painted is bleaker than bleak, and actually not a reflection of what is going on, the vast majority of cases and the vast majority of people. But aside from my media bash here, the concept of unity is achievable. This is something, again, it's not easy. We have to work at it. But the rewards that we get by cementing this unity, by achieving what we achieved at Mount Sinai, and that is something that is within our grasp. So that is the opening words and the messages that we get from these opening words. But we then continue, and then there's another aspect of Sinai that we can absorb, we can realize that if it happened then, it can happen at any point as well. And that is chapter 20, verse 16. V'chol ha'om ro'im es hakolos, and all the people, and we have it actually written in the present tense, and I'm going to adduce that as evidence that we are able to replicate that in the present, because really the Torah is describing what happened at Mount Sinai in the year 2448, but it's written in the present tense. So I rest my case. We can achieve this in the here and now as well. So they see the sounds, the es halapidim, and the flames, the es kol hashofar, and the sound of the shofar, the es hahar ashan, and the smoking mountain, vayar ha'om, and the people saw, again written in the singular, vayonu vayamdu merachok, and they moved and they stood from afar. And Rashi says, v'chol ha'om roim, and all the people could see, Melamed shelo haya bahem echad suma. This teaches us that there was not a single blind person among them. And again, this is based on a medrash in Mechilta, and this is the basis of the tradition that as we have this idea: all blind could see, all deaf could hear, all physical ailments were miraculously healed, and the Medrash picks it up because it says, and all the people, this word kol, all, how every single word gives us another dimension, another aspect. And we could have just said the people saw, it didn't have to say and all. Not only did they see, but they saw sounds. What is going on here? And this is coming to show us that with the giving of the Torah, that this is Hashem's document. This is how Hashem communicates with us. This is how Hashem teaches us, guides us, and shows us how to live our lives, every moment of our lives, and at every single point in time. And human beings go through different challenges in different epochs of history. However, human beings are essentially the same, and the challenges that we faced at different points in our history, the Torah is the tool for us to overcome these challenges and to go forward and to achieve as we do so. That has not changed. That we have the same now. And so this concept of seeing sounds is showing us that when we go into the Torah, when we accept the Torah, when we are connecting with Hashem, then there are no boxes, because we live in a world where I see objects and I hear sounds, but Hashem is above that. And when you get onto the highest spiritual level that is synonymous with receiving the Torah, that is synonymous with achieving this close connection with Hashem, then you can see sounds. There is absolute clarity. And the use of the singular is something that meshes with this idea that when we are entering the oneness of Hashem, when we are accepting the Torah and we are becoming one with the oneness of Hashem, then we are able to leave aside certain physical consequences that apply lower down the scale. That when you are in a physically defined life, then you are going to have physical limitations. But the higher up the mountain you get, the closer to Sinai you get, then at any point in time, and especially when we come up to the anniversary of Matan Torah, we are able to leave our physical limitations behind, and we are able to establish that incredibly close connection with Hashem that endows us with these beautiful consequences of the full health in every sense of the word, physical and spiritual, as the two combine so beautifully together. And really dreaming of remembering because we were there, and dreaming about the possibility of this happening now as we come up to Matan Torah. And the two passages in the Siddur that I think can help us recreate this on a daily basis, because the flip side of having a gift that keeps on giving means that it is possible to not take advantage of it, but to stop seeing it with fresh eyes, to take it for granted. And so we have the beautiful Birchas HaTorah, the blessing that we make as part of the morning blessings. And this really is a hugely important blessing, to the extent that the destruction of the temple happened because the destruction of the first temple, on the one hand, is explained by the fact that the people committed the three cardinal sins of adultery and murder and murder, and idol worship. And the rabbis in the Gemara add to that that the problem was that they didn't say this special blessing on the Torah every day. We say it once a day in the morning, and that will apply to everything that we learn the whole day. And we can learn from the texts. We can learn from our experiences in life. We can learn from going out and seeing nature and appreciating Hashem's beautiful world. We can be applying Torah when we are treating our fellow person, we are treating our fellow person with respect. We bring Torah into our lives in so many different ways and contexts. And so the essential point about making this bracha is to realize that Torah is not literature. Torah is not something that is not law. Yes, it is the written word, and yes, it contains laws, but it is transcendent. It is way, way above that. And we need to accept, we need to live in such a way that we acknowledge that it's from Hashem. This is unique. And by engaging with it in this way, we are able to lift ourselves higher than we could possibly imagine. And by saying this blessing every single day and looking at the words carefully and really internalizing them, we are able to keep appreciating this gift that keeps on giving. And the other, at the close of the morning prayers, because this blessing that we say before learning is at the beginning of the morning prayers in the blessings. And at the end of the morning prayers, we have what's called the 6 remembrances. And so every single day, we have the opportunity to remember, although we are in the run-up towards Shavuot, there is still the idea that we need to keep this as exciting, just as when a birthday comes round and you're excited and you are excited for that present, and it is real, it's palpable. So by having these 6 remembrances, one of them being a quote from Devarim chapter 4 from Deuteronomy, and this is the summary of Ma'amad Har Sinai, the receiving of the Torah at Har Sinai, and Moshe Rabbeinu is warning the people, Rak hishamer lecha u'shmor nafshecha ma'od. You must guard yourself and guard your soul exceedingly. Pen tishkach es hadvarim asher ra'u einecha, lest you will forget the things that your eyes saw. Ufen yosuru milavavcha kol yemei chayecha, and lest they will turn from your heart, turn away from your heart all the days of your life. You shall make them known to your children and your children's children. The day you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, which is interchangeable for Mount Sinai, the Lord said to me, this is Moshe Rabbeinu talking to the people, assemble the people before me, and I will let them hear my words, so that they may learn to be in awe of me as long as they live on earth, and they will teach them to their children. And so, on a daily basis, because sometimes we forget, sometimes we're distracted by the busy physical aspects of our life, but we don't have to be. And as we approach the anniversary of Matan Torah, let us all have the merit to receive this wondrous gift, to carry that excitement and enthusiasm from this special day to every day of our lives. And in so doing, may we all merit to see the prophecies come true, that all the blind will see and all the deaf will hear, all physical ailments will be healed, and we will be united as one in the service of the one God. May that day come speedily and in our time. Thank you very much for listening. Wishing everybody Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom.